Hello, I am Xarkun, and this is World of Warships Legends. We've got a level 16 Sergio Splendento on the screen. He's one of the unique commanders you can use for the Rust and Rumble event. You can also buy him to use in the standard player versus player game, although his skill set is a little bit different. We're not really going to talk about the skills too much that I've chosen here, but this is the build that I am using on the Rust and Rumble event. By the way, if you do want to buy him to use in-game, you have to use the tabs currency that you get for playing the event. He costs 10k, so do the others. Now, we've got the Lazarus version 1 to use in Rust and Rumble. I picked this destroyer for one particular reason, and I'll go into that as I talk about the game mode. It's based off the Ognavoy. I think it has the same number of torpedoes, 10 of them, but they only go out to 4 kilometers, and it's got 2 turrets with 2 guns each for a total of 4 guns. I think the other 2 destroyers that you can choose also have the same number of guns. Looks pretty good though. Very Soviet looking with the camo scheme. That's actually a camo scheme you can buy for the Ognavoy. The other 2 destroyers are based off the Benham and the Z-23, and their camos can also be purchased for the tabs currency to be used on the Benham and Z-23, although personally I think this one is the best looking. So, what's this game mode all about? I'm going to talk about it and just give you my first impressions on the game mode, tell you whether I like it. As you can see, there are 12 ships in this game, all destroyers. They're visible to the naked eye and the minimap from the start of the game. We've got small little capture points that appear randomly on the map at the beginning of the game and then all throughout it. They only take like a second to capture, so pretty much as soon as a ship enters one, it gets captured and disappears, like our teammate here. You see he enters the P-cap and immediately it's gone, it's captured. Now, these ships, all 12 of them, are divided into 3 teams, so it's kind of like 4 versus 4. The goal is to capture those points when you see them. They grant you XP, and they also grant you tabs, and then the other goal is really to just kill the enemy destroyers. This is very much a team deathmatch mode. I know a lot of people like to treat standard player versus player battles in World of Warships Legends as team deathmatch, even though they really aren't. So, here's, something you've been asking for quite a while, at least some people. This is essentially a straight-up team deathmatch mode with destroyers. There are 3 of them, as I said. The Lazarus is one. I'm shooting at an enemy Lazarus here. There's also the Greasy Sam and the Rascal. The Greasy Sam is the one based off the Benham, and the Rascal is based off the Z-23. Both Greasy Sam and Rascal have longer range torpedoes than both Greasy Sam and the Rascal have longer range torpedoes than the Lazarus here. I think they go out to 7.5 or 8.5 kilometers. Lazarus, only 4. How much do torpedoes come into play in this game mode, though? Well, I've played 5 or 6 games in it, and in my experience, not much. That's one of the reasons I think the Lazarus is a good pick. It has 4-kilometer torpedoes, and you have to be very close to use them. If you are very close, then you have a much better chance of hitting the enemy than if you launch them at max range from 7 or 8 kilometers, because all 3 of these ships also go stupidly fast. I think the Lazarus has a top speed of 48 knots. One of these things has a top speed of 50 knots. I think the other 2 also come with an engine boost consumable, although it's not called engine boost, it's called something weird. I think it's literally just called Go Fast. And the one that's based off the Z-23 has sonar, although it's not called sonar, it's literally called, quote, the scanner thing, and it detects torpedoes at like a range of 6 kilometers, and it has unlimited charges. So if you've got one of those, what are they? I forget the name, it just escaped me. One of those rascals on your team. That's what it's called, the rascal. You got one of those on your team, and it pops that sonar consumable. It can detect torpedoes from 6 kilometers away, so you really never have to worry about them. That's why I've gone with the Lazarus. Mostly a pure gunboat. Only 4 guns, but the Greasy Sam also has 4 guns, and the Rascal has 5 guns, I think, although it's based off the Z-23 and it's only got 1 turret in the front. You have to kind of turn around to get all the turrets on target. And both Greasy Sam and Lazarus, I think, are more effective gunboats for this game mode. And really the guns are what it's all about. Never unspotted, always seen, always shooting the guns at these destroyers. Does take a little bit of getting used to adjust your aim properly, because like I said, these things are going at breakneck speeds. You really have to take careful lead of your shots. And I think what you want to do is stick with your teammates. What I've noticed that tends to happen is 2 of the teams at the beginning of the match square off with one another, and then the other 2 teams square off with one another. That's what's happened here. In fact, it looks like that purple or pink team has basically eliminated the dark red one, or maybe that's the one we're fighting. Honestly, I can't tell. These colors kind of look pretty similar to me on this small screen that I'm using to record this commentary. I suppose I should talk about why I picked the Lazarus over the other 2. Notice it only has 1 consumable. The other 2 destroyers, I think, each have 2. Greasy Sam has one that, when it's active, reduces incoming damage from both torpedoes and guns by 50%, and that's nice. It also has the engine boost, and then the Rascal has an engine boost and sonar. Lazarus here, you know, what's the name Lazarus associated with? I can't say right off the top of my head, but it's associated with coming back from the dead, right? Well, this thing has 3 repair parties, and that is, I think, the most useful consumable for this game mode, because you can recover some hit points if you lose them. So that's why I'm picking this game. Plus, it seems like in this game mode to be an effective gunboat. The Ognivoy, though, that it's based off of, is not necessarily the most effective gunboat. I should have a video first impressions review on that up probably tomorrow. In any case, is this mode fun? Yeah, I think so. I like these gunfights between destroyers. I like gunboat destroyers, and this is pretty much all about gunboat destroyers. It's just kind of good old-fashioned team deathmatch online multiplayer fun. And you've got those capture points that you can sail through really quickly, take them, get yourself a few extra tabs, a bit of extra XP, give your team a better chance of coming out top on the leaderboard. As for the rewards for this event, what are they? How do you get them? Well, you get them by spending the event currency that you earn for playing this game mode. It is, of course, called tabs. I think you get 5 tabs just for showing up, and there's a few bonuses that allow you to get more tabs. This was the very first game I actually played in this mode, and I think by the end of it I get 160, 150 tabs. What can they be used for? Well, they can be used to purchase upgraded versions of these ships for this game mode. I assume that these upgraded versions are a little bit more effective. I don't know whether if using them gives you any kind of ability to earn more tabs by winning the matches or playing them. No idea. In any case, they're more effective. You can spend them on that if you so choose. You can also spend them on these unique Halloween event commanders. We got Splendento, the blue-haired lady, who I can't remember what her name is, and then Vincent Mordoff. Blue-haired lady, she's a German commander, Splendento, Russian, and Mordoff, American. They each cost 10,000 tabs, so if you can grind out that many, then you can ostensibly acquire them for free. The ones I'd probably recommend most, I guess I can do a video on that if you guys are very interested, although I think T-Bull has covered that very well on his channel. The one I'd recommend most, though, is Splendento here, actually, because his base trait in the standard game increases the turret traverse speed of the destroyer's guns, and there are a lot of lines of destroyers that can benefit from that, namely the Russians and the French. It's a very good inspiration to use on them. You might even get some nice use on it for maybe some of the Germans, like the Z-23. I don't think its turrets turn particularly quick. Maybe even the British. You know, it's just a good trait to have, to be able to get your guns on target in a gunboat destroyer. And Splendento has some nice skills for the Russian destroyer line generally, and for the Ognivoy particularly. In fact, he'll be the commander that I'm going to feature on my review, although I'll talk about who I would recommend as an alternative if you don't want to get Splendento or use him. Aside from being able to purchase the commanders, though, you can purchase the Ognivoy for, I think, 32,000 tabs. Now, to be totally honest with you, I don't know how feasible it's going to be to actually acquire that amount of tabs. That's a pretty high number, and it doesn't seem like the payout at the end of these games is especially high. So that would take a fair bit of grinding. You can also buy the skins, as I said, I think before in the beginning of the video, for the Ognivoy, the Benham, and the Z-23. This here on the Lazarus, of course, would be the Ognivoy's special skin. And I think that's pretty much what the tabs are used for. As far as whether you think the items on sale for tabs for purchase are very useful, I guess that's up to you. Personally, any tier 6 ship that you could potentially get, any tier 6 premium without paying real money for it, is a good value in my book, since they are the best credit earners. So personally, I'm going to be going after the Ognivoy. And I think this game here is about to be wrapped up. We've got 3 kills, so we've done pretty well for ourselves. And I think we're going to take this final guy out right here. It's just us versus him. Yep, there the match ends. And I think we're going to finish top of the leaderboard on our team and across the other teams. The result is, of course, a victory. We received 130 tabs, not a whole lot. Did 41,000 damage, you know, whatever. Team result, yeah, our team's number 1, and we're number 1 on our team's leaderboard. So, hope you enjoyed this first impressions look at the Rust and Rumble event game mode. I think it's pretty fun, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing if you haven't already done that. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.